Hey, I'm Dan with Empress Effects at the NAMM show 2018 with Evenstad Music, and we're going to do a quick demo of our new pedal, the Zoia. So the Zoia you can think of as a platform for creating your own effects and sounds and utilities. Everything you do will be on this grid, and you basically create things, so whether that's a sound or an effect, by placing modules on this grid and then connecting them together. So I'll show you a quick example of how that would work here. I'll go to a blank. So right now on the grid, all we have are inputs and outputs. So this would be an input, it's connected here. And then these two down here are the outputs, which are connected to the two output jacks. If I want to connect something together, all I have to do is press the buttons together. So the input to the output, and then I'll connect to the other output as well. So now, by pressing this, I have an input connected to both outputs. So it'll just pass audio, like that. Nothing fancy. So say I wanted to make a delay, I can add modules here and connect them together to create a delay line. So I'll drop in here and go to an audio module, select delay line, and I'm also going to add tap tempo, which is an option here. So I'll hit done. So now it's dropped on there, but it's not connected to anything. So to connect it, the first block of a module is always the input, the last block is always the output, and then everything in between are controls for that module. So in this case, I have the modulation for the delay line, and then the tap tempo input here. So I'm just going to change the view quickly. So let's say I wanted to connect the audio path. I would go input to the input of the delay line, and then output of the delay line to the pedal outputs. And then you can see, so now I've connected that to that, and then now it's to there. I'm also just going to add the tap tempo quickly so that we can get that going by adding a stomp switch. So now this is a connection to the stomp switch. And if I connect that to the tap tempo, it'll control here, and I can set the tap time with that. So now I have a simple delay, and I can create feedback by just sending it into itself, and I'll just reduce the strength of that connection so I get a nice decay, right? And then adjusting the strength of that connection lets me control how much I have decay on there. So that's the basics of building something, and from there you can just expand. You have pretty much unlimited space. Each preset has pages, so you can just scroll over, and it essentially just lets you make the grid bigger and bigger, and you can move back and forth. So you never really run out of space to build. And once you're happy with your sound, you can just hit save, and then it's available on a preset. And you just scroll presets just like we do on our other pedals. So here we have a synth that we made. So this is kind of like a Euro rack in some ways, where you can put things together with oscillators and VCAs and ADSRs to make synth modules. And we're controlling it right now with this MIDI controller. So I have an FM synth going with 4 voices of polyphony, which is really nice. When you're working in Eurorack, usually you're limited to 1 voice of polyphony, or maybe 2, because you need to buy modules for every voice to make something like that. Whereas with this, you can just make 1 voice and then just copy and paste that in for as many voices of polyphony as you want. And then you could go and you could add maybe effects after that. Like I have one here saved. It's the same thing, but then we're running it through some auto panning, delay, and reverb, which adds more functionality as well. Tap tempo, just like we did on the first thing. So that's the basics of how the Zoia works. Another cool thing I should mention is we have the presets can be exported and imported, so you can share them with your friends. We're gonna have a repository online where you can post them and download stuff that other people have done, and then load it onto your Zoia and then expand on that. So if getting into the nitty-gritty of creating stuff from scratch isn't your thing, you're still going to be able to have access to a ton of cool sounds. And you can string stuff together to make your own pedal, basically virtual pedal board, with all the stuff that you've downloaded. And again, it's saved all on presets, so it's really easy to recall and do live. So that's the Zoia. We're hoping to have it out early summer, maybe late spring, so like June, July-ish. And the price point should be around $450 to $500 US street price. So again, I'm Dan with Empress Effects at the NAMM Show 2018. Thanks for checking it out.